Hey guys, Johnny from Ignite here, and I'm coming at you with a brand new video that's really important, and it focuses on a very important skill that you'll need to improve your writing in English. So we're going to be looking at integrating quotes into your analysis, and how do you do that in particular when you're doing a comprehension paper or an essay. So the first thing we need to look at is why you even use quotes. What's the purpose of them? And most of you out there are probably covering the first 2 points here, and that is to illustrate a point that stems from a topic sentence. So you would be using a quote as evidence to prove a point that is then proof of a broader concept that's in the topic sentence. It's also an opportunity for technical analysis. So one of the common points in the criteria is your ability to identify language features and understand how that's being used to create meaning. And the ability to grab a quote and then chuck a technique on it is a way that you can actually do that quite effectively. So most of you will do those two, and a sentence that does that might look something like this. And note here, I've used simile, but that could really be any technique. So if you said the simile in the quote, and in that quote, that would be proof of the simile. Demonstrates, and then say what it means. That's a very standard sentence, but it's lacking potentially some sophistication that you could otherwise have by addressing that third dot point. And that is to demonstrate a deeper engagement with the text by integrating the quote not just as evidence of a technique and not just as a way of showing that you know how to identify a technique, but actually use it in the way you explain a separate quote. And I'm going to show you an example of this because we need to try and highlight all 3 of these points. So a sentence that I'm talking about with the sophistication of using a quote not just as evidence of a technique and as a way of proving a point, will also have a quote in the effect. We're going to embed it in the analysis of an already used quote. And that's what's going to make you sound extra sophisticated and make those essays extra polished. So what's that going to look like? As an example, I'm going to go through a very quick quote. It doesn't matter if you're not familiar with Hagseed, which is in the Tempest and Hagseed study in Module A if you're doing the HSC English Advanced course. But if not, not to worry. Pay attention to the general analysis. We're looking at this quote and the photo of Miranda on the other side of that magical window. She was still alive. And now she would have to stay locked behind the glass because the Miranda he'd been intending to create or possibly to resurrect was dead in the water. Now, if I look at that quote, the first thing I notice as I look at this is this quote locked behind the glass, which is this image of imprisonment. Okay, so you can use that quote as proof of that technique, and you can make a point about why Margaret Atwood, the composer of this particular text, would have used that to try and convey some kind of meaning. But I'm also interested in this word resurrect here because I feel like I might be able to integrate that into the way I explain the imagery there. Okay, so what does this sentence actually look like when we package it together? And keep in mind, I'm trying to use 2 quotes in 2 different ways, but it's all from the same passage. So after the cancellation of his Tempest, and that's just putting this quote into context, Miranda is characterized as locked behind the glass of a photo that Felix has of her. This image of imprisonment, there's the technique that I'm ascribing to that particular quote, reinforcing Felix's desire to resurrect his daughter to life. Now notice, I've chosen to say resurrect because that was actually part of that broader passage. I'm using a quote not just as evidence of a technique, but I'm actually using it in the explanation of the quote I've already used. That allows you to go deeper into your textual analysis and engagement, and that's going to impress the marker more than if you just used quotes solely for the purpose of illustrating a technique. I could have said otherwise, reinforcing Felix's desire to recreate the image of his daughter or something of the kind. But instead I've chosen to word it around resurrect because when I read that passage, I thought, resurrect has a lot to do with what I'm going to say about that quote anyway, so let's find a way to work that into the sentence. And that's the mindset you need to have if you want to up your sophistication of analysis and integrate quotes, not just in that simple fashion of proving a technique and creating meaning, but actually integrating in the effect of what you've already said there. I hope that helps. It's a very important tip, and it should help you improve the sophistication of your writing. Let me know how it goes in the feedback. I'll see you guys soon.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you do like the content, subscribe to our channel and we'll have more videos coming your way.
That's right, guys. Thanks for watching. And please make sure you check out our online resource database. We've had a team of state rank achievers and heads of English put these together for you, covering everything from essay structures and examples all the way through to craft of writing and comprehension skills. So check them out at ignitehse.com.au, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.